Disclaimer. This podcast is for educational and informational purposes only. It is not medical advice. I am not a doctor. Peptides and supplements discussed here are not approved to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Always consult a qualified healthcare professional before starting any new health, peptide, or longevity protocol. Welcome to today's episode on longevity protocols for men in their 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s, with a specific focus on peptides and how they fit into a long-term health and performance strategy. Longevity is not about chasing immortality or trying to feel 20 forever. It is about extending health span, preserving strength, energy, cognition, libido, and independence for as long as possible. It is about staying capable, sharp, and resilient through every decade of life. Before we talk peptides, it is critical to understand that longevity is built on layers. Peptides are not magic. They amplify a foundation. That foundation is sleep, nutrition, movement, stress management, and basic medical oversight. If those are ignored, peptides will not save you. If those are in place, peptides can become powerful tools. In your 30s, longevity is mostly invisible. You still recover quickly. Testosterone is usually strong. Muscle builds easily. Sleep debt does not hurt yet. This decade is about prevention and optimization. The goal is to protect what you have and slow the first signs of decline that often start quietly in the background. In your 30s, the most valuable peptides are not aggressive fat loss or extreme hormone manipulation. They are peptides that support recovery, sleep quality, mitochondrial health, and injury prevention. One of the most foundational peptides here is BPC 157. This peptide supports tissue repair, gut health, tendon integrity, and inflammation control. For men lifting weights, training martial arts, running, or working physically demanding jobs, BPC 157 can quietly protect joints and connective tissue, which becomes extremely important later in life. Another peptide that fits well in the 30s is TB500. It works systemically to support tissue regeneration and mobility. Together, BPC and TB500 form a base layer of physical resilience. These are not about looking shredded. They're about still being able to train hard at 50. Sleep quality is another major longevity lever. Peptides like ipamorelin or low-dose sermorelin can support natural growth hormone signaling without suppressing your own production. In your 30s, this is not about chasing growth hormone levels. It is about deeper sleep, better recovery, and improved body composition over time. Cognitive longevity also starts early. Peptides like CMAX and C-Link support focus, stress resilience, and neuroprotection. Chronic stress is one of the fastest ways to age prematurely, and these peptides help buffer the nervous system without stimulants or addiction. As men move into their 40s, the game changes. Testosterone often starts to decline. Recovery slows. Fat gain becomes easier. Sleep becomes more fragile. This decade is where proactive longevity protocols make the biggest difference. In the 40s, maintaining muscle mass becomes a top priority. Muscle is not just for aesthetics. It is a metabolic organ. It improves insulin sensitivity, supports hormone balance, protects joints, and directly correlates with longevity. Peptides that support growth hormone signaling become more valuable here. Sermorelin combined with ipamorelin or tesamorelin can support lean mass, fat metabolism, and recovery without directly replacing hormones. Tesamorelin deserves special mention in the 40s. It has strong effects on visceral fat reduction, which is one of the most dangerous types of fat associated with cardiovascular disease and metabolic decline. Reducing visceral fat is not about abs. It is about protecting your heart, liver, and pancreas. Mitochondrial health also becomes critical in this decade. MoC is a peptide that supports cellular energy production, insulin sensitivity, and metabolic flexibility. Men in their 40s often describe better endurance, mental clarity, and fat utilization when MoC is used appropriately. Immune resilience begins to matter more as well. Thymosin alpha-1 supports immune modulation and has been studied for its role in immune aging. A stronger, more balanced immune system means fewer illnesses, less inflammation, and better long-term outcomes. Moving into the 50s, longevity becomes more about preservation than optimization. This is the decade where many men notice significant declines in strength, libido, motivation, and cognitive sharpness if nothing has been done proactively. The good news is that peptides can still make a meaningful difference. Growth hormone signaling support remains important, but dosing and recovery become more conservative. The goal is not maximal output. The goal is sustainability. Lower, consistent dosing protocols often outperform aggressive cycles in this age group. Joint and connective tissue support become non-negotiable. BPC 157 and TB 500 often move from optional to essential. Chronic inflammation accelerates aging, and these peptides help manage it at the tissue level. Cognitive protection becomes a major focus in the 50s. Peptides like Cmax support memory, executive function, and neuroplasticity. This is not about becoming smarter overnight. It is about slowing cognitive decline and maintaining mental agility. NAD-related support is also valuable here. While NAD itself is not a peptide, peptides that support mitochondrial signaling work synergistically with NAD-focused strategies. Cellular energy decline is one of the hallmarks of aging, and addressing it improves everything from stamina to mood. Sexual health and intimacy often shift in the 50s. PT-141 can support libido and sexual confidence through central nervous system pathways rather than testosterone alone. This matters because desire and performance are not just hormonal, they are neurological. As men enter their 60s, longevity protocols become deeply individualized. The focus shifts to independence, mobility, cognition, immune function, and quality of life. This is not the time for extreme experimentation. It is the time for stability and support. Peptides that reduce inflammation, support immune balance, and protect tissue integrity become the core. Thymosin alpha-1 continues to play an important role. BPC 157 remains valuable for maintaining mobility and reducing chronic pain. Growth hormone signaling support may still be used, but often at very low doses or intermittently. The goal is better sleep and recovery, not muscle hypertrophy. Sleep quality alone can dramatically change how a man feels in his 60s. Cognitive peptides become especially important. Neuroprotection, mood stability, and memory support directly impact independence and quality of life. Chronic inflammation and insulin resistance are strongly linked to neurodegenerative processes, so metabolic peptides still matter here as well. Across every decade, one principle remains constant. Longevity is not about stacking everything at once. It is about rotation, recovery, and responsiveness. The body adapts. Protocols should evolve. Blood work, biomarkers, and honest self-assessment matter more than trends. Peptides work best when paired with resistance training, adequate protein intake, consistent sleep schedules, sunlight exposure, and stress management. They are tools, not replacements for discipline. Another critical aspect of longevity is knowing when to pull back. More is not better. Overstimulation accelerates burnout and dysregulation. The best longevity protocols feel sustainable, not extreme. Longevity also includes mental and emotional health. Chronic stress, isolation, and lack of purpose age men faster than almost anything else. No peptide can replace meaningful relationships, movement, and engagement with life. Disclaimer: this podcast is for educational and informational purposes only. It is not medical advice. Peptides and supplements discussed here are not approved to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Always consult a qualified healthcare professional before beginning any peptide or longevity protocol. Longevity is not a destination. It is a daily practice. The goal is not to live forever. The goal is to live well for as long as possible, with strength, clarity, and purpose in every decade. Thanks for listening, keep learning, and stay curious.